Okay, Amy, welcome to the big interview. It's all good. You're not going to get nervous. You're used to being on camera anyway. I have been really impressed a little bit with some of the accomplishments that you've had. My goodness, you was nominated and you won Counselor of the Year, almost 20 years of experience, eight of which working with teenagers, applying to colleges and universities all over the country. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I have to always start this with talking about how I am a first generation college student. And navigating that in high school was really tricky. My mom tried her best, but she had not attended college at that point. So we were just two people trying to navigate this process that can be overwhelming when you're not sure how to get through it. And I strongly believe that that's what led me to my own career as an educator. I really connected with that experience, and I feel like that's what has me where I am now. And that's why I love helping students. I love connecting with kids. I love connecting with their families, and navigating the process together. And so I always have to say that that is my journey. That's my story. The root of it is I was that first gen kiddo who just trying to figure it out.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I like you so much. So I had to put myself through college at the same time, and I didn't have any guidance. I'm a product of the community. I relied on advisors and mentors to help me get through the process. And it's really hard to get through this. I mean, when you think about it, a lot of teenagers have never made real adult decisions before. And this is a big one. What college am I going to apply to? What major am I going to apply to? And parents can kind of panic through this process. So tell me, what is it that you enjoy about this process? Because it's tough. It's not an easy job, and you choose to put yourself in the firing line, so to speak. So what do you love about this?
I love to be that resource. My passion is definitely closing those gaps, right? And so if I am that resource to a student, just what you experienced in your story, found those resources. I love to be that for my students. And so if I get that email asking that question about the application, I'm going to get back to you. If you reach out to me, I'm happy to answer you. If I don't know the answer, I'm gonna go find it. That's the way I do my work.
I love it.
Um, and so yeah, I that's what I love. I just love to be that resource for the kids, for my students.
I love that you said that if you can't figure that out, because we don't know everything. This is a
Mhm.
rapidly evolving
Yes.
environment. Before the pandemic and before the college admissions scandal a few years ago,
Yeah.
change was very slow. It was very gradual. This was a very predictable profession to go into. But now there's always breaking news and there's always crazy application totals. One of the things about our agency is that we have a STEM specialty, meaning that a lot of people come to us that are applying to majors that are heavy in math, heavy in science. So, business, computer science, engineering. Why do you think these are the most competitive majors out there?
Yes, I have just reiterate that again. These are very competitive majors. STEM is always evolving, so there's that factor. Those professors in those universities, in those lecture halls, in those labs are working with students who are about to begin careers that we don't even know exist yet, right? And so with that excitement builds popularity, and so now we have competitive application process for limited seats at these universities, right? And so it is important to connect with people who understand how to navigate that,
Yeah.
right? And especially because of the competitiveness of just the process itself. Now add to that STEM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But now, sometimes we do work with folks that have no clue what they want to study. I mean, what is your advice to that person watching this that is saying, Amy, I feel lost. I don't really know what I want to study. I know that my applications are going to be due soon. I don't even know where to start. What is your advice with working with someone that has no clue what they want to study?
Right. It happens all the time. I have to start with that. I have seniors, every year that sit across from me and say, I don't even know what major I need to be selecting here. And we always start the conversation with what are current goals and then what are some interests. And that just kind of starts the wheels, turning and the thought process going. One of my favorite things to do is talk about interest We pick a random university that's within reach for the student, and we look up majors that connect with those interests. And we just start talking about the programs. Hey, check out these classes in this program. Is any of that exciting?
Yeah.
And slowly through that, we start building possibilities.
I love
So
it.
not knowing, it
It's
happens all the time.
normal. And
It's
it's so
normal.
normal,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's only a few schools out there that expect you to know exactly what you want to do since
Mhm.
kindergarten. Like
Yeah.
you should be doing research since middle school if you're
Yeah.
trying to get into some of those colleges. And so many teenagers need to understand it is okay not to know what you want to do. And a lot of folks think they do know what they want to do, and then they start doing research and realize this is nothing like what I
Right.
expected. The essays, a lot of people are
Mhm.
going to work with you on the essays. This
Yeah.
is probably the hardest part of the entire application process. Where do you even start with this can of worms? A lot of
Yeah.
teenagers postpone. They like put this
Oh.
off because they don't want to start it. What advice do you have?
Yeah. Okay. Well, number one, you are going to start early, right? And so if I'm speaking to an underclassman, especially a junior, we're going to start talking about it already. And so the essay is narrative in nature. And I love to ask the question, when's the last time you wrote a story? And I usually get answers that are like, I don't know, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, and I'm like, great, we're going to remember those skills. Let's talk about that because you're about to brag about yourself in narrative form. And so we talk about how this has nothing to do with the resume. We're not going to reiterate the resume. Admissions, offices are going to read that already. How can you be genuine and just talk about yourself in the most positive way and highlight your character? Like, how amazing are you? That's the smallest moment can really highlight how amazing you are. And so I love starting the conversation with that. Just where are we at with narrative? What can we talk about? What stories can we tell? So everyone can do it. That's a good
Yeah.
thing. I say, it doesn't matter if you're not a creative writer. You can write this.
Yeah.
Anyone can tackle this.
And it's the story of you. Like teenagers know
Yes.
themselves. I mean, the problem is parents, they love to rave about their kid. They are there to brag and rave. But the teenagers have a hard time. They struggle with that. They're so
Mhm.
humble. Like they don't know how to talk about themselves. And I
Yeah.
tell teenagers all the time, listen, you got this. You know what you're going to write. It's a story of you. That's
Hmm.
what this is all about.
Yeah.
But I get it. In schools, they teach you how to write academically, how to look at a prompt and there's
Hmm.
a black and a white answer, a white or a wrong answer. And this takes time because of self-reflection,
Yes.
self-discovery. And a lot of teenagers have not done that. I think the essays are a big part. I think that when our scholars go through essay prep, they evolve as a human being because
Oh,
they
yeah.
finally get to do that self-reflection that
Hmm.
they haven't done before. Like this
Yeah.
is shaping them personally. Okay, speaking of self-reflection,
Hmm.
speaking of picking out majors and writing, a lot of people we work with have got UT on the list, UT and A&M.
Yeah.
What if you could give me like one or two pro tips to that scholar out there that is eyeing the 40 acres? What would you
Yeah.
recommend to somebody that's got UT on that list?
Yes. Number one, where are we at with your resume? Because UT is going to give you the opportunity to make that long and detailed resume. And so, underclassmen start building, keep adding, updating year after year. So when we hit senior year, all you're doing is polishing and tidying it up, put a bow on that, and you're submitting that PDF to UT. They want to know everything. They don't just want to read your activities on Common App, which are very brief and concise. They want to know detail. So yeah, I love to tell my students who have UT on the mind, like on their minds, where are we at? Because we have to start building that. So that's number one. And number two, we do need to start discovering the interest and what that major is going to be because they're going to have to answer why this major.
Mhm.
And so deep diving into that program of study on the UT website and what gets you excited about that, because you're going to have to make a connection back to UT. Right.
Mhm.
And so those are the two that I love to start with. That extended resume and then why your major, but why UT at the same time. Let's make connections.
I love that because I think that a lot of the folks that are getting admitted into UT these days, they're beating the odds because they have experience in the field of study that they're going to apply
Hmm.
into. So, activity building being key. UT will go far outside those that are in the top 5% and make room for you if you've got great activities and you've got great essays and your energy is contagious. And that kind of goes down to the teenagers working on this. This can be a really exciting, fun experience of applying
Yeah.
to college. It doesn't have to be painful.
No.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
You are a pro inside and out in this process. And I'm sure that everyone who works with you on this experience truly loves working with you. But you've got a superpower, I'm sure. You do something unique that very few, if anybody else, can duplicate. So, what would be your superpower?
Hmm. This one's fun. Um, so I would have to say, and I'm gonna get to the why. I enjoy laughing. I enjoy laughing. If I'm stressed out, you're gonna find me looking for something funny. But I look for joy in the moments when they present themselves. Applying to college can be stressful. It is a stressful process. So I look for the moments to celebrate and build connections with my students. Um, we're gonna celebrate the milestones because they deserve it. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And so I love to build those positive, strong connections with the students I'm working with. And we built that relationship. We built that. And so I don't know if that's like I just love to laugh and I love to make wait, whatever you just finished, you turned in your resume, let's read it. It's if it's amazing and ready to go, we're gonna celebrate. Yay, like amazing, and we move on. If we don't do those small things, yes, the process can be painful. And I refuse to allow that to happen to anyone I'm working with.
Definitely. And you know what? This experience of applying to college, especially when you're applying from some of the more competitive high schools,
Mhm.
Westwood, Lhasa, Westlake, just to name a few. I mean, there can be so much pressure to get admitted into specific places because everybody in these high schools are applying to the same list. I love that you said laughter because that takes the pressure off. And
Mhm.
that takes the pressure off, and scholars and students can go through this process feeling in control and feeling confident because
Yes.
they know I'm going to be okay. I'm good. I'm going to college and I'm going to be okay.
Yes. That is the
Yeah,
end goal. Oh yeah, that's the end goal. You will find a university that is just right. And the one you were targeting at the beginning of the journey may not be where you end up. And that's the process. That's why we call it an application journey. And
yeah,
so, yeah, and that's so true. Every journey is unique. We may all start with similar ideas, but at the end of the day, everybody ends up where they belong.
absolutely. Well, this has been a really fun interview. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself to the families and the teenagers watching this. And I really appreciate the time. And everyone else watching this, definitely. Hopefully, you learned a lot. Hopefully, you enjoyed connecting with Aimee as well. And we look forward to hearing back from y'all soon. Bye bye.